This is a segment that our resident GM, Dan O'Dowd, came up with. You believe this is something that front offices do at this stage of the baseball calendar, right?
Yeah, I think there's a big gap between opinions and observations. So I don't think you make opinions on 10% of the season, but you make observations because you're trying to determine what is the identity of your club? What do we do well? How do we build the club? All the conversations you had in the winter with your staff. Now you're beginning to see 10% in the season. Is that carrying through? And if it isn't, you begin to do a little bit of R&D trying to figure out why it's going well or why it isn't going well. Let's take 3 clubs for an example.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, so the first club is the San Diego Padres. They went into this season, one of their focus points was, from an identity standpoint, let's start winning the games on the margin. They didn't do that last year. If you watch the Padres play through the early season now, they are. They're much better at situational hitting. They're grinding out one-run games. They're putting balls in play in crucial situations. Here's an example of that, from yesterday's game.
That's Jackson Merrill.
Just a situational, put the ball in play. And they've been doing this on a consistent basis. And so they've got to feel really good that they're developing an identity to be able to do that. Here's a board that kind of looks at that and supports that. Look at the average of runners in scoring position. I felt like last year, Mike, everything was, let's try to hit a 2 or 3 run home run. This year, it's more, let's try to have a quality bat and put the ball in play. Look at their line drive percentage. The BABIP, that can fluctuate a little bit during the course of the season, but I think average and running scoring position is a mindset, so they got to feel really good about that. Conversely, you go to the Boston Red Sox, and one of the things, their focus points were, hey, let's take care of the ball this year. We're going to be a solid defensive team. 10% of the season, it doesn't look like that is playing out the way that they thought. It has not been very, very good defensively. That would cause me some concerns because I feel like defense is a mindset and it's controllable in how you prepare and play the game. Here's a board that talks about it. They're last in defense in all of baseball right now. So, again, that would be something that I begin to, okay, what is our pregame work? What are we focusing on? What adjustments we have to make? The Marlins were, okay, let's win the games we're capable of winning. Because that's what you always do, trying to get a club that's in kind of the gray area over the hump. They haven't done that well at all this year. So it's definitely been a problem down in the situation with the Marlins because they've blown so many games out of their bullpen this year and so many games late. And Mike, from a player standpoint, when the bullpen begins to blow games, how does that affect the mindset of a club?
It has a definite effect because I think if you lose 7-1, you knew you had no chance. The other team outperformed you. If you're up 3-1 in the 9th and you lose 4-3, you're like, I feel like we gave one of those away. And then to your point, Dan, that the 10%, I think position players kind of understand and gauge spring training's a big deal and that early part of the season. If you feel like the bullpen's just giving up leads, and when you look at the Marlins, I think it's about 6-7 games where they've been tied or had the lead in the 7th inning or later and have lost, I think, 90% of them. So there's demoralizing losses, and you see, oh, wow, this bullpen gives us trouble. There's times where you're on teams, I go back to in 07, we felt like we had a 1-run lead. Hideki Okajima was put in major high-leverage situations. Jonathan Papelbon closed it out. And we felt like if we had a 1-run lead, the game's over. I mean, it's such a different mindset where if you feel like that 1-run lead or even 2-run lead is not safe, it puts that extra pressure not only on the position players, on the manager, on how he's going to handle the game. Are you playing for the 3rd run? As opposed to, hey, let's try to see if we get a cricket number and put 5 on the board. It does have an effect. And I think bullpen and defense is something through 10% of the season you can kind of evaluate and say, ooh, we need to address X. And hopefully, maybe we can be proactive and get our team better. For the Red Sox, Trevor Story going down hurts them.
That's a big deal.
It hurts them. So that those numbers are going to be adjusted that way. But as a whole, you can't be giving extra outs. You can't be giving extra outs because the Red Sox are going with a young rotation. You're trying to get length out of those guys. You start giving 30 outs as opposed to 27, you're putting a lot of pressure on guys that don't need that.